having a beautiful, beautiful day on this sunny, beautiful autumn morning. Man, I went to the park today.
Oh.
Met a girl.
Oh.
Sparks flew. She fell to my feet. And we had sex right then and there, man.
I know where this is going.
Best decision ever to buy that taser.
Oh, fell right to her feet.
Sparks.
My feet.
Ah!
But you didn't add in that she was also 5 years old.
Mm.
You should stop tasing children in the park.
So pull down your pants and send that girl a fucking dick. If your girl's eating breakfast, boom, send a dick. If your girl's stuck in traffic, boom, send a dick. Is she at church with her parents, boom, send a dick. Just whip out that big dick and send that girl a dick.
250 episodes
and 250 yards from every playground that Mike has to be at all times.
Oh, that's so good. I walked right into that one. Episode 250.
That's the official horn of the Skinny with Mike and Adam.
There it is.
Every episode from now on, we'll begin with that.
Actually, did you just hear that music that just played?
It sounded like an up-and-coming rap duo.
Oh, yeah.
Was it?
Whoop! Yeah, we're going to be changing the music from here on out. I think 5 years of the first Among the Fallen is
officially
enough.
It's officially dead now.
Yeah.
If that music is not going to live on anymore.
Correct.
Now that the band has been broken up for
5 years.
Since 2011.
Yeah.
That's more than 5 years.
Oh, no.
Going on 7 years.
Yes.
But it's okay to let it go.
Yeah, that's fine.
And
I like that music. We hope that you like that music. But now we hope that you like this new music.
But they never heard your vocals.
No.
During our transitions, which I always wondered if that was your fear of judgment.
There's a little bit of that.
Because Mike often got criticized for his vocalizings.
Yes.
And by criticizing...
I always got like, hey man, you have great stage presence. I love your screaming. I love your singing. And I get just as many of those of like, your lead singer sucks. But like it's always
Screaming Cat.
Yeah.
Remember that one?
Rabid Cat.
Rabid Cat.
Rabid Cat from the band something Romance.
My Chemical Romance.
It was My Chemical
Gerard
Romance.
Way said
when
you
Gerard
were a
Way
screaming cat.
You know it's true. No, it's something like the Eternity whatever, I don't remember.
Forever, yes.
Yeah, Eternity Forever. I'm glad they're broken up. But welcome to episode 250, everyone. And you know we've had people who've listened for like 250 episodes. We have people who listen to just a handful of episodes. We've had people who just listened for the last couple years. No matter who you are, welcome to our show. Thank you for supporting us, and thank you, Adam, for making this a reality.
Well, thank you for making this forever ongoing and never ending.
Yes.
I think you're the only one that drives this podcast, but I provide the house to record it in.
Yes.
So therefore, it's a dual effort.
I can't tell if that was some sort of backhanded compliment that you don't want the show to continue.
All it means is that the show is here.
Yeah, it's
and
queer.
Either we don't have a life, or I don't know. We have lives, kind of.
We do. Yeah.
You're very poor.
Oh,
I have a 4-year-old.
Yeah.
And avid sportsings that keep my interests.
Yeah.
Often. But somehow we find time to do a little show.
Well, for me...
that brings joy to at least 6 to 10 people
and
every week.
Upwards of 700. So
allegedly.
So like 693 people.
I know.
Around that,
but
listen to it and then like move on.
And just move on with their lives. Now the 6 to 10 people that interact with the show, that's about as much as I could expect. Because, as I've always said, the amount of people that would show up to our band performances was usually between about 6 to 10. Maybe 15.
People who went there of their own free will?
Yes.
Not people that we guilted into coming to... More about our band later this episode. For the last several weeks, I've been asking you guys, the listeners, to send us some questions and comments and topics and things like that.
So many weeks you've been asking.
So many weeks. But you know what? We got a handful of some pretty good questions and topics to talk about this week. So thank you guys for that, for those of you who submitted questions. So we will get to that on this week's episode sometime in the near future.
Finally.
But it's not just our show that we want to celebrate. Shit Rick Says is coming up on their episode 100.
Yes.
Whenever that may be. It might be before this episode comes out. Who knows?
Well, now that Voldemort had to be removed from
He who shall not be named.
from the Shit Rick Says archives.
Yeah.
Which was crazy because I had already downloaded episode 20, which was a Zoldemort episode.
Okay.
So it was like I had it on my iPod before it got deleted.
Oh.
So I felt like, I got like black market Shit Rick Says episodes.
If anybody wants some of that sweet Zoldemort shit, contact the Skinny with Mike and Adam.
And it's so sad because, like, he doesn't say anything that's bad.
No,
But when you live in Canada and you don't have free speech laws,
that's true.
then apparently this is what happens.
Apparently.
You have to delete men from the internet.
From existence.
From
If they're not-
existence.
if they're
This
not
is
on
like
the
this
internet,
is communist Russia kind of shit.
communist Canada.
They just erased people from photos,
Mhm.
and it was like they never existed.
Yeah, history has been changed
I'm
here.
so sad that Zoldemort could not summon the Dark Lords and fight back against Harry Potter
That's right.
and Justin Trudeau
Horcrux,
and whoever else
Wands.
is in the Parliament of Canada.
golden snitches.
Probably Shane Told.
Shane Told as well. He's part of the he's part of the wizard
I think
community.
Geddy Lee is definitely like a vice prime minister if they have
Uh-huh.
one of those.
That makes sense. That makes
And
sense.
of course, Chad.
But Shit Rick Says is a great show. A lot of great conversations going on there. So go to shitricksays.com to go to their subscription pages, and all their information is there as well.
And within that episode 20 was the first time that I heard Adam Eminon and Rick have a little bit of a tiff with each other.
Ooh.
So this was the beginning of the end when they were talking about Rick wanting to make, rape jokes or rape comments.
Yeah.
And Adam saying, I don't think that's right, guys. You shouldn't be doing that because it takes away from the something about rape is bad.
We're taking back that word, Adam Eminon.
Exactly. And eventually Rick won, obviously, because he's the one with the show.
Yes, his name is on the show.
And by episode 21, they start throwing out the term shenanigans a lot. And Rick is already pissed that he has to change the name of his show for iTunes. And he's like, fuck that, I'm not doing it. But then by episode 21, which is a two-parter, they're saying the term shenanigans a lot.
Ooh.
So I think this is where the change happens. And they say shenanigans.
Rick is getting censored by Apple. He's
Yep.
getting censored by Adam Eminon.
And by
You won't handle it
the
anymore.
Canadian military.
And Canadian military,
Man,
too.
that's sad. Are we allowed to speak out against the Canadian military?
We don't live in Canada.
I'm glad.
Yeah, communist Canada.
All those gooses.
Communist goose.
So,
it's a great
anyway,
show, and
great
and,
show.
Adam, and Rick's always been a
I'm seriously,
big
like-
supporter of us, so we want to make sure that you guys check that show out as well.
And I'm seriously enjoying it a lot more even now.
You just want to
Go-
know
go-
the co-host drama.
Because it's kind of like, when you jump into a podcast in the middle, like you miss all of the episodes where they talked about why they are the way they are.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, the pieces are coming into place
Yeah.
as to why Rick is Rick and Adam is Adam.
Mm.
Or maybe he's not Adam. Maybe he's
Maybe
Amanda.
he wants to become a different person.
He's
of
Amanda No Name.
Amanda. No. Why, have you been following up on Eminon?
Well, there hasn't been any news since his July Twitter
Okay.
post of talking about living in the binary world.
You haven't been checking out his dozens of EPs because he doesn't sleep, apparently.
Those were all done years ago.
Right.
So,
But anyway, on to episode 250. We have just a couple things we want to talk about before we get to your Q&A sessions.
Q&A.
The Q&As.
Queer-A's.
So let's go move on to the feed. Oh, listen to that. New feed music.
Now rocking your commute ain't always that easy. Roll down my tinted window so the ladies can see me. The office parking lot is crawling with ladies. And when I'm bumping Taylor Swift, they all want my baby.
That was some great feed. Wasn't that funny? Wasn't that great?
Hilarious!
Hilarious. Who doesn't want to hear that entire song in
Man,
its...
if you want to hear that entire song, you should go
can't
to
stop
drivebybcurious.bandcamp.com, Adam.
just laughing so much. My tears.
Adam, calm down! You're
Man.
convulsing. Every single muscle in your body has been convulsing. You're bleeding out your
bleeding.
ears. It's so funny.
Oh, God. I should get that checked, probably.
Your brain is leaking. But
I'm so in just stitches.
friend of the show, band Vies, specifically Aaron. Yes, Aaron. Aaron Weiss.
Carter. I don't know.
We interviewed the guitarist Aaron of the band Weiss a couple of years ago, and we fell in love with that band's music. We've seen them live. They opened up for
Dance,
Rise
Gavin,
Records,
Dance.
Gavin, Dance.
Defeat the Low and Alive Like Me.
They opened up for a lot of great bands, and they've been following kind of Will Swan's record label here and there, because every
Yes.
time Kurt Travis, it seems like every time Kurt Travis is in town, Weiss will go and open for them in Blue Swan Records bands. But good news for some Weiss: if you go to weareveiss.bandcamp.com, you can pre-order their brand new EP,
Yes.
No Consequence, coming out October 6th.
Nice.
They have a new song out called Smash. If you go to New Noise Magazine, again, look at these guys. They're moving on up.
I hope so.
New Noise Magazine is featuring their music video for their new song Smash.
And it's very well done.
very well done.
It's pretty awesome.
It's a nice living room.
So they did a 2-song EP in 2016.
Which I was surprised to hear that, because I feel like
I paid the
not...
$1.99 for it on iTunes.
Because may I have that?
It's in my iTunes.
Yes.
As long as you don't open up my iTunes and accidentally delete it, like somehow we did this week.
Yes, exactly.
But no, it should be there. And
Okay.
I think it might have been called No Consequence, but I'm probably off on that.
Okay, well, we'll check this out then. We'll see what happens.
You could
But
scroll down. My iTunes is right
I'm
there.
scared. You're scaring me with your broken iTunes.
It's back now. It's back, and it's there for life.
All right, man. So we got an update now with one of the most highly anticipated things that may or may not come out this year. Brian Fallon shared
Ooh.
on his... I don't know who that is. You might like him.
I love him.
You love him?
He lives in my closet because I'm in love with him so much, and he just sings me songs as I get ready for work every morning.
He means that quite literally.
Yep.
He's duct taped him, hides him in his closet, deprives him of
I
sunlight.
just duct taped him to his guitar,
Aw.
and I tied him to the chair.
New album sounds great, by the way. I hear him plucking strings. It's more like, help me, I'm gonna call the police.
And I force him to make jokes at Mike's expense.
Exactly. The Brian Fallon on Instagram posted this just last week. Okay, the record is mixed and off to mastering. I say, a song comes out this side of the holidays soon.
This side.
Mm-hmm. So
which holidays? Thanksgiving or Christmas?
we'll
Never know. Labor Day. So we're on this side of Labor Day.
So give me that fucking song, brain.
So it'll happen on this side of Labor Day.
Also, tour dates coming very soon. Getting ready to gear up and get out there full force. I'm extremely thrilled with this record. Bing, wait for it, bing bong. Brian Fallon is a drunk moron sometimes.
Is a drunk uncle.
He's a drunk uncle. So it doesn't seem like we're going to be getting that album. If the new song is going to come out by, we'll say, the Christmas, Thanksgiving holidays, then that new album's nowhere near close to being
Shadow Drop
on
double album.
December 31st, 2017. Right.
Double album Shadow Drop. Happy Christmas to us all.
Ooh, you heard it here first.
Happy Kwanzaa.
There we go. It's coming out Kwanzaa. He's
I know
converted.
the Kwanzaa crowd is really gearing up for the
Exactly.
Brian Fallon album, but no, I'm super duper duperly stoked.
We have
And
some Brian Fallon related topics to talk about.
If I have to
very
compare
soon.
a Brian Fallon album to science fiction, though, it's going to be a little tough.
So maybe it's best that it does kind of peek over to 2018.
Yeah, but then again, I don't want to wear Packers gear.
Those bets are getting pretty close, to
I
be honest. I
know.
was looking at them again. I was like, oh, I might actually lose this.
The official scorecard is.
Yeah.
Well, we'll figure it out in December.
We'll do it then. We'll do it then. So,
Okay.
let's move on to the bulk of this episode. What we've been overhyped, but it's still gonna be great.
Is it hate crimes?
Not this time, baby.
Harkening back to the early skinny days.
Did you know that Lowe's harassed a lesbian couple?
No.
We just wanted to bar a barbecue.
They just wanted to return their barbecue.
Just wanted to return a barbecue, and Lowe's wanted to return a barbecue. Call them slurs, man. Don't listen to early skinny episodes. We're way past that.
I thought it was Home Depot, but I can't ever remember
Whatever
which
it
one
was. Those homos. Damn homos.
Those homos and their grills.
On the plate.
With my cock out, serve it to you on a plate, baby. Turn that ass around, shake it like a shake weight. I wanna make love, wanna give it nice and slow. Gonna smack you in the face, bitch, my dick is yours to blow. Gonna jizz on the walls and make you get me a towel.
All right, man. So again, thank you guys very much for these questions and topics for us to go through. Really appreciate it, and
I'm still laughing at the music, though. I can't stop the laughing.
well, Adam, after this show, you can go to drivebykurious.bandcamp.com to listen to 2 albums worth of comedy rap.
For some reason, that phrase is more funny.
Why?
Because of all the time and effort that must have been put into them, which was so
It's okay.
little.
We didn't do a thing. It was 2
You
up-and-coming
mixed and
rappers.
recorded them.
Oh, yeah.
They
I was
just-
at gunpoint.
They just put the beat down.
I took a lot of drugs and therapy to block that out of my memory, Adam.
That's true. That was a lot of therapy, all 3 sessions.
But I'm okay now. Repressed memories.
Psychotropic medication cures all.
So let's go through some of these music-related ones, and we have a couple.
Can we just say the people that took the time to make these questions?
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
Yes, I appreciate that too, and
All-
it means a lot to us that we have people who are willing to participate and reach out to us, and and
Give us a little bit of validation.
yes, validate this show that we do.
A little bit of 5 years of our lives.
We know that podcasting is a very non-interactive medium, so people who actually took the time to visit our Facebook page or email us, it means a lot to us. So
Yes.
we joke around all the time, oh, there's only 7 people who listen to the show. It is in the triple digits, and I see the analytics every week and everything. So we get a good number of people who listen, but the people who actually interact with us, that does mean a lot. So it adds faces to the people that we try to entertain every week. So
Darn tootin'.
we appreciate that. So
Thank
let's start
you.
with some of these this is a music-related show, music-centric show, so let's start with some of these that were sent to us by our listener, David.
David
He sent us
Shomo
a-
Dance?
David Shomo Dance.
Okay.
David, I don't want to do last names. Plus, I only did first names on this one anyway.
Oh, yeah.
So he sent us a handful of music-related ones. So let's start with this first one here. So which album artwork best captures the theme or emotion of an album? He left his answer. My answer: They're Only Chasing Safety by Under Oath, which, if you don't know, is a close-up of a young woman wearing an oxygen mask. Very striking green eyes.
Ooh, yes.
Yeah.
That was back in the days of you could be a model
Yeah.
and just make a pretty picture, and you could end up on an album.
Who knows?
There's so many bizarre albums out there, or album art out there of
Yes.
just pretty girls holding things.
A Skylit Drive.
Exactly. She's holding the world,
She's holding the wires.
or she's
Oh, yeah,
bursting out of water.
Yeah, how many a Skylit Drive albums have pretty girls on there? There's
At
the
least
first one,
2.
Wires in the Concept of Breathing. She's bursting wires out of her gut, and she's holding them oh my god.
Yes.
And then the woman who's bursting out of water.
I'd like to go with Red Hot Chili Peppers, Blood Sugar Sex Magic.
Ah, that classic album art.
I don't know if you want to bring it up on
Sure.
on the iTunes. It's okay. iTunes is safe.
Okay.
But this one, I guess I have to do more of a visual because it's Anthony Kiedis' girlfriend at the time, which was girlfriend number
74.
803 out of
okay.
2006. Holding... No, I'm sorry. I'm not going to go with Blood Sugar Sex.
Oh yes,
I'm going to go with
the band.
Mother's Milk.
Mother's Milk.
Go there. It is.
There it is.
So she's cradling the band while her boobies are out.
Yes.
She is topless. Now, is there a nipple shown? I don't believe there's a nipple.
No, Anthony Kiedis is looking up at her right. Oh, she's Anthony Kiedis is blocking her right boobie, and her
Yes.
left boobie is being covered by a rose.
Yes. So she's cradling the band while they hover around her boobies.
So this album artwork shows me
Speaks
that
to me.
speaks the music's going to be sexy and kind of raw, maybe a little bit kind of emotional,
Risque.
risque.
Maybe it's their burst into the mainstream. I don't know. Maybe one of these songs will move on to become one of the hits of the year 2000. As in, come, come, my baby. Come, come, my baby.
You're my butterfly,
Sugar, my
baby.
So that's what this album art screams to me.
Mm-hmm.
But, Mike?
So album art for me, I stopped. There was a lot of back in the day when I used to get music from Best Buy. I mean, I still get music from Best Buy and iTunes. all the time.
You're there by yourself
All
every
the
day,
time.
purchasing hundreds of dollars
So many
per
albums.
day.
Anyway, well, back in the day, album art was very important to me, and a lot of times I would see an album art and purchase an album just based on the album art because the album art like it spoke to me in
I don't know how you can
way.
trust that so much.
It's a weird thing.
That's really strange.
Like you're literally judging a book by its cover by doing that.
Exactly.
I remember, but I got burned a lot by doing that.
Yes, I can imagine.
There was this band called Diffuser back in the day. I don't know if you've ever heard of them.
I have not.
They had like one single that didn't go anywhere, and then like the album art was this high school. There's lockers and everyone's in class except for this young couple where you can see a young boy's feet are like on the floor. He's laying on the floor with a young lady cradling on top.
Oh, okay. So he's not dead.
He's not dead.
Most children go to school to get murdered.
Correct.
But he's going to school to have sex.
He's going to have sex, baby.
Ooh,
so I was like,
right
oh,
there
this
in
is
the
some
hallway.
sexy pop punk. And then I listened to it, and it's like, it's the most generic album I've ever heard of. So maybe that's not the best example, but
Maybe
I
not.
think to answer the question, an album art, because like I said, I used to go through album arts and booklets a lot. From first to last, Heroin, which if you just look at the front cover of it, it just says heroin with like tree roots coming out from the font. But
yes.
if you flip through the album art, it's the band interacting with the character of the heroine, and one of them is like is at a lake, is at a lakeside, and, like he's rescuing her. The other one's like in a bed, like as if they just made love. Another one is
Why am I thinking that heroin is just a white cover that says heroin on it?
because it is. But if you
Okay.
go through the album art, like the booklet,
the album art.
yes,
Okay.
the booklet. That's what I mean. I'm sorry if I misdirected you. But like in one of them's like holding
Gotcha.
holding her hand, like
'Cause
as laying down in a white room. Like the album art really evoked like the weird darkness, but also interesting atmosphere of the album. And I thought that was a cool thing that they did. Like
That
they
is
didn't
good.
they didn't have to do that. And I appreciate when bands go above and beyond and give you like a nice visual to go along with the music.
True. Because
So it's really cool.
has always happened, no matter whatever the album artwork is, that's the visual I have in my head
Right.
while I'm listening to the entire album.
So it's a cool way.
Which is
of,
why They're Only Chasing Safety throws me off.
You think
'Cause
so?
Nothing about that album artwork
she
says
has
anything.
a haunting look on her face, though. You know.
Yes, but come on.
Okay. Well, as with all art,
Not to
it's
put
open-
down our fan.
Yeah, but
but-
as with all art, it's open to interpretation.
Yes.
But on the topic of Under Oath, I think the album art for the deluxe edition of Define the Great Line really adds to the atmosphere. Even just the album art itself, which is just a man who is kneeling down. It's dusk in the middle of a desert, and he's starting to fade away. That adds a really haunting atmosphere to that whole album. So even just that one page, there's album artwork in the booklet as well that kind of expands on that. But
Makes sense.
yeah, I mean, Under Oath was really great about adding atmosphere to
All
the.
right. We can go on for days about album artwork because
But we won't.
I could even say, well, there's a lot of grunge bands that have some good album artwork.
Oh yeah,
Just to see that, Pearl Jam has stayed together for as long as they do,
Mhm.
and then you look at 10, where it's just 5 of them giving each other a high five.
yeah.
Kind of like in that pre-show, like, let's have a little huddle and
Yes.
get on the same page.
Keith F.
And, yeah, that was ours back
Yay,
in the day.
wee!
And just to see that band has survived for 26 years now,
Uh-huh.
music getting worse or better is up to interpretation.
Right.
But, that kind of said something there at the beginning of their career.
Next question from
Okay.
David.
Okay.
Did Dance Gavin Dance start an entire new genre of music all by themselves? Examples: Hail the Sun, Idola, Stolas, Oranges, Cianvar, and Wolf and Bear. David gives his answer: yes. At least I can't find a band similar to their sound before them. So Dance Gavin Dance started off around like 2005, 2006 with their EP and whatever the first album's name was.
First lead singer.
Downtown
Downtown
Battle
Battle
Mountain.
Mountain
There we go.
1.
And I remember back in the MySpace days, everyone was talking about this interesting band, Dance Gavin Dance, Dance Gavin Dance. And I was like, oh, I'll give them a chance sometime. And then I finally listened to the music on the music player on back in MySpace now, back in the day.
Yes.
And I remember being blown away by how interesting it was. How it was like it was hardcore music, but it
But
it
very-
incorporated jazz
Yes,
and funk
the
elements.
technicalities of the musicianship.
Yeah, and how
always been
how intricate like the guitar work was, and I remember not listening to any band similar to that. Since then, we have gotten bands like CNVAR and Strawberry Girls.
Did anybody sound like that prior? I guess
I know.
not. We've listened to a lot of bands. Nobody was really doing that kind of technical work that Will Swan was doing in 2006.
Since then, of course, yes. I mean, I think every band on the Blue Swan record label sounds exactly like that now.
Yeah, everybody's kind of stealing it in a way.
Yeah, well,
So,
it has been like 11 years since that album came out, so you're gonna have copycats.
I mean, Dance Gavin Dance seemed to be the only one doing it right.
Right.
I mean, Hail the Sun is great and all, but it's not at that
But
level.
Dance Gavin Dance has that magic.
Yes.
They seem to have the it factor when it comes to. I think I've coined the term funkcore. So I'm gonna keep it. Dance
TM.
Gavin Dance is funkcore. All rights reserved.
And what was I going to say outside of that? I cannot remember. Oh, having that Tillian Pearson factor.
Oh yeah, and I think they've perfected that sound at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Mothership notwithstanding.
Mothership is fine.
Mothership is weird.
3 songs on it are weird.
Yes.
The rest you love. Therefore,
Yes.
apparently that album doesn't count.
Worst album ever. Number 3. Most shows offer VIP tickets. From a marketing standpoint, why wouldn't some artists not provide this option? My answer, they are earning double the ticket money by offering this to fans. For some bands, I'd pay for it. I usually have artwork I want signed anyway, but it's an easy, why the hell not? So why wouldn't some bands offer VIP tickets, like a meet and greet kind of?
I didn't even realize there were bands out there not offering that.
That's true.
surprising.
Well, I think it's mostly like bigger bands.
Remember
that
when we
kinda
went
do
to
it.
see Amity Affliction and their roadie was walking up and down the line saying, if anybody wants to come in and meet the band, it's $20 for VIP.
Apparently nobody wanted to meet at Emily Affliction, I guess.
And you and I sat there like,
Do you have $20?
I don't got $20 in my wallet.
Oh, man.
I'd love to do that, but,
Gotta pay for parking. I don't
not at the Glass House.
Oh, that's true, yeah.
Well, we think we paid like $2 for parking. But, yeah, I didn't even realize bands weren't doing that. But as
Well,
somebody
to answer
who
the question,
could
like,
give
why
a poop,
would, yeah, to answer the question, why wouldn't some bands do it? Like, I don't think a lot of bands have that fan base, really. Like, maybe some bands just don't have the fan base to feel like to justify that kind of
it?
price.
I guess. Because they really only charge like an extra $20 usually.
Sometimes, but
But then
like,
you're pushing it into like the $50 range.
Yeah.
If it's like a $30 show.
Dance Gavin Dance does weird things where like, oh, come do a meet and greet, meet the band, you get an autograph, you get a balloon, and then you get
Yes.
some weird like merch.
You get playing cards.
you get playing cards.
Dance Gavin Dance playing cards.
Like, okay, that's a weird VIP package. But
You
like me
get
personally,
Johnny
like,
Craig's head on a bullseye.
have you ever paid for a VIP package?
No, I kept on saying we should try that one of these
Yeah.
days, and we never did, and then my interest went away.
Yeah, for me, like, I am okay not ever really doing it. Like, I do it for like a couple bands. I don't feel like I need to justify that purchase for every band. Like,
And when
if
they're-
they'd give us an interview, I'd be happy to pay that money. But
When you go see a band where the possibility of running into them on the sidewalk outside the venue
that's never
is
happened to us.
pretty
ever.
high.
Yeah.
You don't feel like you need to pay an extra $20 to talk to them and have a very bizarre conversation. So, how's it going? How's the tour? When's the next album coming out? Are you fun in real life? Do you have any hobbies? Like, why do you always wear black and white striped shirts?
Have you ever
JT
abused
Woodruff?
your girlfriend?
We have nothing in common with these people except the fact
Our
that
love for music.
we like the same music that they do.
Yeah.
But they know more about music than we do. So I don't have any interest in that.
Yeah, but I think you and I come from a different kind of perspective on there. So I can see the appeal of like some 14-year-old girl wanting to pay VIP tickets to see All Time Low. I'm
That
like,
would
oh my
make
god, I
perfect
fucking
sense.
love your haircuts.
If it's only $20 for All Time Low,
The first
then
time I masturbated was to your music. Oh my god.
to your 2007 Alternative Press cover,
Oh my god, the way it swoops to the right. Ah!
and I'm only 27 now. Oh, sorry.
I have 4 kids thanks to you. Number 4.
So for us, I think we're just out of the demographic to
I think so.
care, right?
Yeah, but like I said, I definitely.
But from a marketing standpoint,
It makes sense.
Go for it, yeah.
why not? But
And then-
I, for me personally, I'd pay VIP ticket money to go meet Jeff Rickley. I think he is an interesting dude who has a lot to say. I'd have a lot to say to him.
he has Well, sure. I'll
But
take your word on that.
But apparently he has some sort of thing where he doesn't want to come to the West Coast ever again. Jeff Rickley and Thursday.
The best coast.
The best coast.
East Coast is the least coast.
I know.
I don't know what that means, but I made it up right now.
All rights reserved.
A
Number 4.
A lot of trademarks in this episode.
What iconic band from our scene of music might be slightly overrated and is fueled simply off nostalgia? My answer, Brand New. That should piss some people off.
Did he wrote these questions before the new album came out?
Yeah, because he messaged us back talking about how he liked it, how he enjoyed like science fiction and stuff like that. But yeah, that's an interesting question. What do you think about that Brand New
nostalgia? What do
I
I
think there's some truth to that fact that Brand New is overhyped.
Prior to the album coming out, I had no interest in seeing them live, and now the album came out, and I was like, I need to see this band live.
Right,
but I didn't. They came to San Bernardino and went.
But even just saying like Brand New is like over, I feel like people hold them to this high pedestal.
And
they put out great albums. Don't get me wrong.
Deliver.
But people are like talking about them like they're going to change music. I don't think so.
And they did. With science fiction.
Number 1 album
of all time.
Ooh. I don't know, but I can see how people like would not like this band. Would hear all the hype, listen to their music, and be like, "Oh, that was all right."
Well, who else besides all of the My Chemical Romance solo projects?
My Chemical Romance. I don't know. Are they overrated?
The solo projects are, but people will go see them because they were in My Chemical Romance.
Because they're holding on to the hope that this is the show where Gerard's going to announce the My Chemical Romance reunion.
It's very possible.
Yeah.
So who else? Are we talking like a band that was big in the mid-aughts?
An iconic band from our scene.
Like from first to last?
Yeah.
Because they sure have not held up.
I think a lot of the from first to last hype now is because Sonny Moore is back in the band. Sonny Moore of the band Skrillex.
For one song.
I
know.
I'm still holding out hope that there's a full album out there.
There weren't any other songs that came out with him after that Peach with the barbed wire thing.
Yeah.
Right? Okay. So who else from the mid-aughts like was super big besides like Finch or something like that?
Under Oath is one of the biggest hardcore bands in our scene nowadays.
Yes.
Would you say that they're underrated, or are they perfectly rated?
Well, judging by how many people at the Bring Me the Horizon show had never heard of Under Oath.
Oh, no.
I don't think they have the staying power.
Yeah, I think that's more for people like our age, who listened to their music when it first came out.
Even when we saw them at Self-Help in 2016.
People were only there to see A Day to Remember. Oh, A Day to Remember! Overrated. For sure.
For sure.
Oh, my gosh. I'm sorry if you're a Day to Remember fan that you love them. That band is overrated.
What was the name of the last album?
Bad Vibrations.
Bad Vibrations.
Yeah.
I don't think any old fan likes that album.
I like some of the songs on there.
We equally agreed it was one of the worst albums of the year last year.
But Bad Vibrations is a great song.
But I'm thinking that most of their fans were not a big fans of that album.
Because they only want to hear da 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 da.
Yes. And Common Courtesy.
We want Fat Lip.
Because I can't lump Sum 41 in that because they're playing appropriate venues like the Glass House. Or like the House of Blues. Which is perfect for them.
Sum 41 knows their place now.
And they know their fans are all in their 30s.
Correct.
And they're not trying to appeal.
Hear Fat Lip. Yeah.
And they only want to hear Fat Lip, which killed me so much inside. So Day to Remember falls into that vein. I think Under Oath,
Under Oath is getting there. I think Under Oath knows their place too.
Until they headline like a really giant tour, which I guess they can't.
Not on pure nostalgia. Well, you know what? They can.
It's all pure nostalgia
That's all
at this
it is
point.
With them now.
2010 was the last album.
Yeah.
So
as much as I love Under Oath, I can understand them being overrated.
And ever since the Bring Me the Horizon tour, they haven't done any more touring, right?
They've done like little festivals here and there. They haven't done like you said, they haven't done like a full headline thing. Yeah.
So I think those would be the main ones, right?
Yeah.
Under Oath, A Day to Remember, Brand New to some extent, although I feel that they still are fucking awesome.
I think Brand New gives off a pretentious vibe.
Yeah.
Like especially Brand New fans, I think give off a pretentious vibe.
Well, especially if you're holding on to just Daisy being the only album.
Right.
Then it was just like, okay, fuck you, Brand New.
Yeah.
But then they fucking hit it.
Oh, science
And it like
fiction is
changed
so
my
good.
perception on the band.
Yeah.
You know, it really, really did.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, they can do whatever they want. If they want to
Oh,
break
yeah.
up, if they want to stay together forever, kill themselves, whatever. I don't know.
2018, baby.
Either
It's
way.
so long.
Either way, we'll see if that new album comes out in November.
All right, I like this next question.
Okay.
Who did a better job for Chiodos? Brandon Bulmer or Craig Owens?
We already know the answer to this
My
question.
answer? Nostalgia rides on Craig Owens. However, Bulmer killed it.
Oh,
His vocals were unlike anything I've heard, especially with the piano in the background. So I'd
yeah.
say Bulmer is the correct vocalist. Well, David, you are correct.
Ding, ding,
you
ding,
win.
ding, ding, ding.
Pew, 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 pew. Oh, dude, we like. I don't know if
Illuminatio was a
is the best Chiodos album.
yeah. It was one of my perfect albums in my top 20, I believe.
Yeah.
I can't remember the exact number, but yeah, of course, Illuminatio is the standout of the entire.
Even one of the
discography.
weaker songs on Illuminatio, like "Those Who Slay Together Stay Together," I
Yes.
don't like. I border on like not liking that song. That's still one of the best Chiodo songs
I know.
they've ever written.
It's like just that line is not that great.
Yeah.
I feel like the rest of that chorus is
great.
really
yeah,
good.
Yeah. So sometimes with one line,
I can't hit that note.
and I don't think Bulmer has the range that Craig Owens does, because Craig Owens could do hardcore. He can do pop punk.
Mm-hmm.
He could do acoustic rock. He can do pop. He can do hip hop.
Allegedly.
Allegedly, you like that bad channel?
I just said allegedly he can do it.
but
He's only done 4, 5 songs or so.
yeah, that's true.
Well, 9 songs, I guess.
Yeah.
The new
But
4.
but as far
not
as
so
like
good.
the career of Chiodos, you're right. Brandon Bulmer did kill it. When we went to go see Chiodos live, we were interviewing people.
Yes.
When they co-headlined with Bless the Fall, and a lot of people didn't seem to be digging the Illuminati stuff.
We already knew that.
Yeah.
Coming into that we were in the minority.
I was kind of shocked, to be honest. I was expecting people like, oh yeah, Illuminati was great, but I'm glad that Craig was in the band.
Well, since I jumped into Chiodos first with Illuminatio
Correct.
and then went backwards, I'm skewed. But I definitely felt like, even when you're listening to the first 2 albums, that it's missing something. But then
Yeah.
you remember that they're like 20 years old, and you're just
That's
like,
true.
there's a bunch of high school kids playing music very well. But
Devil, which came out 2014, like that's a great album. I think that's a great
yes,
Craig Owens album.
it's
I
not
don't think
the best.
Yeah,
it's
I
not the
think
best.
I think if you had that album exactly the way it was, but swapped Craig Owens for Brandon Bulmer, I think it probably would have been a miss. So that album was perfect for Craig Owens.
yeah.
Illuminati was perfect for
I can't see
Brandon Bulmer.
Brandon Bulmer singing something about 3 a.m.
At 3 a.m., yeah.
Yeah. That song that I was on the fence all year
Yeah.
long. Like, I guess this song's fine.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a shame, though, that we're never going to see those Illuminati songs ever. We're never going to see Chiodos again,
Nope.
potentially. But
We just get that half-assed version of one Illuminatio song that became a drug song that they still play.
It was a Chiodos song first that
Yeah.
became a drug song that they brought back to Chiodos.
Yeah, so that's the half-assed version that we get.
Yeah, whatever.
You're
but,
the only
yeah,
thing
thank you.
you talk about. Sorry.
Thank you very much, David, for the questions. Let's move on to first-time writer or first-time contributor to the show. Goes by the name Adam.
Adam, not
The Lesser Adam.
with a G. The
Exactly.
lesser.
So he sent us a couple of questions. This one I think will be fun to discuss.
And we just got these like recently.
Yeah, just this past week.
I didn't even have time to read through them, so these are all fresh.
Okay.
to me.
Well, this one. Well, let's go through this one first because it's something that we're both not familiar with. So, this is question the second. Did you guys ever get into Dave House's solo stuff after the Loved One split? So, short answer, no. We've never heard of either of those things. But he goes on to continue.
I was gonna say, I hope Mike's heard of this because
No,
I sure haven't.
I messaged in the back that we've never heard of any of this, but we'll clarify on the show.
Okay.
I'm a big fan of his work, especially the Devour album. It might be the most important album of my life, along with Brian Fallon's Painkillers. Perfect
Wow.
albums at the perfect times, you know.
Whoa. Well, then we need to listen to that
So,
shit.
yeah,
and
we
get on
will.
that.
We love getting recommendations from our listeners as well. So we've had a lot of success with people recommending us albums and
I know.
falling in love with it as well. So we'll go check out David House's Devour and as well as the Loved Ones because I looked them up as well. They only have 2 albums out before they split.
Okay. I'm
so
still getting through all of Mike's best of
Oh my God!
hundreds. Still
many.
so many to go.
The first question he asked, on the scale from 1 to 2, with 1 being very pumped and 2 being very, very pumped. Very odd scale. It's like my worst album ever, best album ever.
Exactly.
How pumped are you to know that Brian Fallon's next solo album is off to mastering and is ready for release in the
God.
coming months? What are you hoping this album to be, and what direction do you think he'll be headed? I heard rumors about horns. I'm down for horns. if there's horns in this album, I'm going to be
It's literally
stoked on those.
one of the best questions I've ever heard in my entire life.
I'm down for horns, too.
I know, and I watched a lot
Adam.
of Jeopardy.
Yeah.
I've heard a lot of questions in my life, but this
Exactly.
is one of the best.
Yeah, so how stoked are you?
Well, I got to go with the 2.
I from on a scale from 1 to 2, I put 345. Yeah, I'm really stoked on Brian Fallon's next record. What are you expecting from it, though?
Man, it's like I don't want too much change. You know, as much as you want an artist to continue to evolve. And
I think he can get away with making a Painkillers Part 2, but I don't think that's
Yeah.
what he's going for.
Well,
Especially if these rumors for horns come to pass.
because when you see the definite change between Handwritten and Get Hurt, still fantastic.
Yes.
Nonetheless, can he make like a Painkillers to something new? I mean, the dude's it's a natural progression to move on to horns and then eventually synth.
Right.
You know,
So many synth intros.
he's going to get to the synth intro and eventually just go full EDM.
Yeah.
I have no doubt.
He's going to
But
go on tour with Skrillex.
but let's start with horns and see what happens.
Yeah.
He recorded it in
New Orleans.
Nolans,
Yeah.
where there's a lot of horn influence,
A lot of jazz influence down there, baby.
but also a lot of Mojo Hand influence.
Yes, which makes me worried because Mojo Hand was the weakest song for me, at least on Painkillers.
I can dig it.
Yep.
We've already discussed how
Yep.
that song is.
We
There's something
discussed
about
how
that song.
I'm wrong. And
There's just something about that song that has
it's unique.
fractured the fan base, right?
Ooh.
Don't you think? Like a lot of people
We've
struggle with that.
Wars have been fought
I know.
over the song Mojo Hand.
It's like Civil War 2016.
Yeah,
So,
so
yeah, we're
the expectations are high, but I would not be surprised, at the very least, if it was just a Painkillers Part 2. If it was something completely new, like with like some jazz rock album, like I'd be stoked for that. Because if anyone could pull that off, I think
I know.
Brian Fallon can do
'Cause
that.
I'm just wondering where else he could kind of go.
Yeah.
I mean, just with it purely being a solo album.
Mhm.
It's like if it was a Gaslight album, there'd be a lot of other possibilities.
Painkillers was a good solo effort that had Gaslight influences on there, which is
Yes.
kind of what I was expecting. I wasn't expecting too much of a deviation from his work in Gaslight.
Mm-hmm.
But apparently he's had a bunch of side projects that I've never heard of too.
Molly and Her Zombies.
Yeah, which I've still to this day haven't heard of
That's the only other one.
because I can't seem to find anything official that like
There's
I think
some
like
YouTube-
SoundCloud links somewhere.
There's some YouTube
Yeah,
recordings, whatever
Okay.
they're called, clips. And then I don't know. I wish Low Love would end up on this next album because that song is fucking incredible.
yes, that is
but
a great song.
We've only heard it live once,
Mhm.
and then there's a live version of it on YouTube.
Yeah,
So I can understand if that was like too much of a Painkillers B-side.
yeah.
I would have loved a Painkillers Deluxe Edition to get a few more other tracks out.
18 more tracks.
But I'm very optimistic, obviously. But
Yeah.
you know, you don't want to shoot your load too early, I guess.
Yes, but if anyone could shoot their load multiple times with the same amount of volume and girth, it's probably Brian Fallon. We're overhyping him.
It's okay. It's okay.
So we got
he is the one.
Yeah,
He's the chosen
he's
one.
he's our true love.
Stonecutters for life.
You are the chosen one.
Would I pay an extra $20 for VIP?
Yes,
He didn't even offer it. Remember?
he
There wasn't
did.
even like a
Oh,
possibility.
we did talk about that. And we wanted to at least like see if we were going to do that.
I know.
Damn you, Brian Fallon!
But
you
he didn't
cocky
offer it.
motherfucker! Why can't you buy us whiskey from the bar?
Exactly. Anyway,
So we got a last batch of questions here from a frequent contributor to the show, Brandon, and he
other
asked
favorite.
us, and he's asking us some kind of like stuff. It's music related, but like personal to us actually.
ooh, personal.
So how would you describe the style of the band you guys were in?
Oh,
So we were in two bands together. We met because Adam answered an ad for a new drummer that we needed for the band from the First Among the Fallen.
way back in December of 2007.
Correct. We met
I
during
went-
the holidays at that time.
I went to my wife went to PetSmart in
Yeah.
San Bernardino, and it was a cold, blustery December eve,
Mm-hmm.
and I said I need to go to Starbucks to get me some coffee, and so she went to buy guinea pig litter like we did once per month back in those days, and I looked at the wall, and there was
Community wall.
this beautiful vision of what later became an album cover.
Yes.
Of a fallen demon, I suppose it was.
It's a fallen female angel thing.
And I said,
whatever.
That's interesting. And it said drummer needed. And I was like, well, I'm in another band with my friend Cameron, but he seems to be more interested in not playing in a band with me and seeking vagina as an option.
Oh.
So, there was a lot of like, hey, let's get together and practice. And Adam would show up and Cameron wouldn't.
That's shitty.
There were some low days before we got the band off the ground because it was just him and me for 6 years.
Because when you got Adrian, it seemed like you guys were practicing a lot more than we were.
Right, but we didn't get Adrian until February 2008.
Right.
So in December 2007 and the months prior, it was just Cameron might show up, Cameron might not show up.
We'll see.
Because apparently vagina is sometimes a bigger call than music. So anyway, 2007, I see this ad. I tear rippings off of it, and it says, looking for a drummer for a post-hardcore band.
Yeah.
And I was like, what's post-hardcore?
Yeah, and I remember
never heard of this.
You emailed me.
No, I called.
Was it called?
Yes, the next
I remember reading a message or something where you asked, what is post-hardcore? It sounds sick.
Sick as in
As
good?
in the positive sick?
I don't know. It sounds like it makes me
sounds
want
like a
to
terminal
vomit.
illness.
Because I remember the next day I went to an alleged Cameron practice, and while I waited for him to show up, I was like, I should probably call this number just because
a number for a band that will actually practice.
There's a possibility
Right.
that these guys might actually have potential and songs and connections to the music industry. My 26-year-old, 7-year-old brain was just lighting up with ideas
And I
of
was
what could
20
be
at the
there.
time, too. Yeah.
Mike was a young buck of 20.
Yes, waiting for my then girlfriend, future wife, future ex-wife, to give birth to my daughter, Zoe. She was very pregnant at the time.
Somehow we formulated a practice within that week.
Correct.
And I went to Mike's little tiny 2-bedroom apartment.
Yep, and we played in the living room.
In the middle of the ghetto of San Bernardino, which,
Yeah.
I only live 2 blocks away. So,
So, it's fine.
it worked out well because all their former drummers had lived 30-plus miles away.
Yeah, the drummer before you, I think his name was Jason, he lived in Yucaipa, so we had to
That's somewhat close to San Bernardino.
Yeah, but we all had to drive over there, and our second guitarist at the time, Eric, lived in Rialto, so it was kind of a drive for him.
Yeah, for
But,
sure. That's
yeah,
only- that's one city past the dreaded Colton.
Yeah, you were the last member to join the band before we started actually writing songs together.
Yes.
So we had just met Bug prior.
Yes. Bug was our bass player, who was a 17, 16-year-old kid at the time.
Correct, yeah.
Who had never played a lick of bass in his life, but wanted to play bass, goddammit. So, and then your friend, our friend now,
Yes.
Mark.
Who I started the band, it was his idea to start the band.
He was the guitar player.
He was a guitar player, yeah. And then he briskly moved to Canada a few months later. I'm like, well, shit.
Well, you and Bug and Mark had started the band how long before I joined? I always forget.
Back then, the band was called The Modern Hymn.
Yes.
More on that later. But we started that around July or August of that same year,
of 2007. Okay.
Yeah.
So you guys had already come up with about 5 songs at that point.
We came up with some ideas. They were drumless songs, so we
Yes.
recorded them on a little tape player.
It was a lot of a dump, 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 dump. Well, Mike sang his soaring vocals and
Yeah.
screamed, and Mark came up with guitar riffs that didn't really
Sync in time.
fall into any time signature.
Right,
Because he was going for a Tool kind of thing.
Yeah, he's going for a weird time signature. Whatever the guy what's his name from Tool?
I can't remember.
That guy.
I know the drummer. I don't know anybody else.
That guy. He's going for a weird thing, and then we finally got drummers to play with, and he had to, which forced him to actually, play in time.
And Bug just kind of hit random notes here and there. Boom, boom, bump, bump, bump. Bum bum bum. That was the extent of our bass.
It was very raw and dirty back in the day. But when we finally got Adam in the band, we started actually the music writing was a lot tighter.
Because I had been writing songs with Cameron for 7 years at that point, so I at least knew how to write a song. Mm-hmm. So I was just like, okay, guys, we got to put this in some sort of structure.
Yes.
And if we do everything in 4/4, we're gonna have a lot more fun than doing everything in 9/8 and shit like that.
Mark.
I was like, I'd love to be able to learn new drum patterns and stuff, but nobody's going to want to listen to this shit, and it's really hard to play.
Let's do stuff that people can get into first.
Yes.
So, so we started writing songs. We started writing softer songs and harder songs and songs in between. and things like that. So fast forward to a couple years later, we are introduced by our friend Brendan to this guitarist named Frank. And
yes. In 2009.
Something like that.
Because there was so much other drama that went on between 2007
Yeah, so we'll
and
fast
2009.
forward through all that kind of stuff. Unless you
Yes.
guys want to hear it, we'll talk about that some other time.
2008 was one of the greatest years of my life. Let's just put it that way. There
Let's
was
see.
so much teenage poon thrown about that I never touched.
Oh, my.
But I could have.
Ooh.
But remember, I didn't.
Poon.
Teenage.
The best kind. But what do you call it? So we were introduced to our new guitarist Frank by our roadie Brendan, who's our good friend now.
Yes.
And the songwriting just was a lot more constant at then because Frank was very like he's like Will Swan good.
Yes, I would say that he didn't listen to Dance Gavin Dance, but he
No.
was very much sounding like
But
that.
he was very technically inclined like Will Swan, but he could still write like dirty riffs and then but then very technical riffs as well, like
And solos.
and solos too.
were fun.
Like he was very good, very
And
talented.
that's his guitar playing on the former.
Yes, all the music that you
clips.
heard like in the transitions of our segments, that's our guitarist Frank.
Yeah.
Like complemented by our second guitarist who we introduced at the time, Joe.
And those recordings were done at my house or in our old practice space.
Were those all Redemption songs? Those were all Redemption songs.
I
Right?
believe so.
Okay, so those are all in their practice space. Yeah.
Okay.
So we were called the First Among the Fallen. You can probably still find some of the music on SoundCloud, as I think the Facebook link doesn't work anymore, or the music on the Facebook link doesn't work anymore. And so the band name was the First Among the Fallen. And did you guys ever get to open for any big touring bands? And if so, who?
Well, there was
So
a couple.
We opened for a few big bands.
I wouldn't say that they asked us to open for them, more as
we got thrown in.
We got thrown in by paying hundreds of dollars
Right.
to play at the Whiskey A Go Go in L.A.
So one of the bigger bands that we opened for was Wednesday 13.
Who I still have never heard of.
Me neither, but Bug was super stoked on opening for him.
Yes.
And our other guitarist at the time, Johnny, was a big fan of his.
This was in early 2008.
Correct,
When
yeah.
we played a lot of shows and thought like we were going places.
Well,
I think.
we were playing a lot of shows.
And well, maybe I was playing more because I was in two bands at that time.
You were playing a lot.
And
Yeah.
I was playing at the Whiskey a lot.
Yeah.
To the point that I was running out of money.
Yeah.
Because nobody else in these bands had like a job or money
Oh,
that
man.
they could put into the effort. So
I put in as much as I could, but like, oh man, I
was
had
like,
baby too.
I was like, oh babe, I just had to take $600 out of our savings account so we can play the Whiskey. And she was like, no, you're never doing that again.
Yeah.
I'm like, but I have to. It's the Whiskey. No, it's never happening.
Yeah.
To the point where I was like not telling her how much money I was taking out of the savings account.
Oh boy.
So it was bad.
Yeah. So we held back on playing LA shows a lot.
So we gave up on that dream early.
This is why we need label support, I suppose.
I guess.
But
There was
yeah, so Wednesday 13, we opened for this European female vocalist Doro.
Yes.
Yeah, that was
And
a fun
Droid.
show. Droid, yeah.
Wasn't there a band called Droid?
That was
we-
our first show.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
opened for them. We were the first fucking band at the Whiskey on like a 7-band bill.
Yeah.
And like people are still getting patted down, including our fans.
Yes.
Are still getting patted down and waiting in line outside while
Yeah.
we're playing.
So I wasn't happy about that, but like when I think
Like, you guys are going to start your set right when the doors open.
yeah,
And be done.
because that's great.
Be done after 3 songs.
Yeah, you'll be done when like a quarter of the people waiting outside are waiting to get in.
How much did you guys pay? $500 to play this 3 songs?
Oh, you guys got
Great
off
job.
lucky. But anyway, but I think when we played like Doro and like Wednesday 13, we were more like middle-ish of the set, which was great because
Yeah, it was like
bigger
second or
crowd.
third.
Yeah,
And
bigger crowds,
man,
though.
to get the feedback from a crowd that was not there to see you
yeah,
was really fucking awesome.
That's awesome,
Because there were
yeah.
a lot of people there that we played in front of who would just like, cheer and scream and clap and shit like as soon as we were done. And
Well,
I was like, I wrote that song and all
I know.
these people
and
are
but,
cheering.
like I know it sounds biased to say, but like a lot of the songs that we wrote, I think were legit good. So I think the feedback we're getting was genuine. Like, oh, this band rocks.
I think so.
Yeah.
And that was, you wrote half of the songs and I wrote half the songs at
Yeah.
that time pretty much. All 6 of our songs.
Right. And we wrote our second and last EP. Well, the second album was like it was an EP when But yeah, I think I wrote the majority of those. I think Frank wrote one of them.
He wrote at least a few, yeah.
Yeah, but anyway, one of the more interesting bands that we opened for was at the Pride Festival. We opened for 80s pop sensation Tiffany.
October 10th, 2009.
Well, it was on your birthday.
We were asked to play the Gay Pride Festival
We did,
in
yeah.
Riverside. And
That was a great show, though.
but remember who opened for us was a performance company troupe.
Dance troupe. Yeah. It was a weird kind of eclectic festival of like many different performance artists.
So they started.
us.
they did the 11 o'clock spot.
Yeah.
We had the 11:45 spot.
Right.
And we rocked that shit, man.
Yeah.
We kicked ass. That was the first time we had ever played on a stage that big.
It was a big stage. I had room to like bounce around, and like my performance style was like very like Burt McCracken kind of like I'm fucking all over the place. I'm like jumping, like I'm letting the music just like engulf me, and I don't even know where I am at some points. I'm like, ah!
And by this point, I had scaled down my drums to a very like succinct kit, and
that was out of necessity because we had to like play on the floor sometimes.
Yeah, so for that stage, I was like, I really needed my giant drum kit.
Yeah,
but I think we rocked that shit. Mike got his picture in the paper.
Yeah, I was in the
next
paper.
day.
That was so cool.
And later in the day, Tiffany, 80s pop sensation, closed out that set around 10 o'clock that night.
That was weird.
Neither of us were there to see it because we
were out celebrating.
We were at the bar drinking.
Yeah.
And I was unfortunately relapsing into cigarette smoking that night after 6 months of not cigarette smoking.
You said that you wanted to have your one a year. Yeah.
And that sure didn't last. So then that progressed into a year and a half of smoking regularly before I finally kicked it.
Thank goodness.
In 2011.
So we got one more question here, and this is very...
But check out our fucking our music. If you're still listening to it, tell us how shitty the recording was. Mike did a great job on it.
I did the best I could with the equipment that we had. Our first record, Broken Beauty, it should be on SoundCloud. Like that was like recorded with like professional equipment by your friend Cameron.
And if you're interested in my other band, Abolition, with my friend Cameron,
sorry,
we recorded 2 EPs, 4 songs
knows
each.
Where that music is, though?
They're on my iTunes.
Oh, well, it's not on the internet for people.
I know.
Listening
I'd have to like Dropbox it for you or something.
Oh, okay.
Or Dropbox it to Mike.
If
and
anyone's
then he could put it
interested, let us know, and we'll find a way to get that to you somehow.
Yes, it sounds like 2008 meets early 90s.
It was really cool, like post grunge stuff, dude.
I really felt it was good.
Yeah,
but
kind of.
There was definitely no market for it. In hindsight,
well, for people who grew up on the grunge scene, I think it's a lot more like an alternative sound.
Yeah,
I'm like an unofficial member of Abolition too.
Yes,
we played a show together. It was great, and I asked if I could like join him on a song and like kind of like do screaming vocals on one of their more aggressive songs, "Light Me Up."
And it was great, except that all of the fans that I was friends with of Abolition thought it was a terrible mix.
Oh,
they were like, "What was up with that guy screaming during your song?" And I was like, "Well, like the other band, he screams in." And you like none of them had really
they didn't get it.
None of them had come out of the '90s.
Oh,
yes,
sure.
They were still stuck there with their musical taste. And there was like, "Oh, guys, the new Foo Fighters album." Like that's the only thing that they were listening to of the current age of 2007.
This music's so aggressive.
I know. So yeah, but that was back then.
Yeah. So yeah, thanks for those questions, Brandon. He sent us another one this past week, and it's kind of like related to the way we do our reviews for the show.
Oh.
So when you guys listen to a new album for like the very first time, how do you listen to it? Just setting aside time to listen to the album with no distractions, either through headphones or loudspeakers? Do you listen while working, driving, or multitasking?
Whoa.
And which way is better for each of you to soak in that album, soak in all that album has to offer? Now, Adam, you have a very interesting process that takes a week long. Can you explain that to people?
I wish it didn't. But no, I start the album whenever I can.
Sure.
And I listen to it once. And then I listen to it once per day.
So for you, like are you sitting down with earphones?
Well, I don't devote my entire attention to the album until the 8th day. All the 7 days leading up to that, I'll have it in my ears, but I'll be doing other things.
Okay.
Like I'll be driving to work, which I mean I can absorb it while I'm driving to work.
Yeah.
Or I'll be working, but usually my attention is on other things while I'm working,
Like
and
typing up a report or
I'm not
something.
absorbing the album.
Like-
Or I'll be raising my daughter,
Yeah.
playing or watching TV with my daughter, listening to the album.
Yes.
Sometimes playing a board game while listening to the album.
Yeah.
Or I'll be taking my dogs on a walk.
Mhm.
I can absorb the album a little bit better then.
Yeah, that's a lot less distraction.
But by the 8th listen, I need to have all distractions aside, and then that's when my numbers start to come in.
So you only listen to it? Do you make it a point to only listen to it once a day?
Once a day.
Okay,
Yes.
because you have like multiple albums to listen to throughout the day
Yes,
too.
and I just don't have time for more than like 3 albums in
You
a week.
average like 3 albums a day. Okay.
But by the 8th listen, I'm pinpointing every single where every single track ends and where every new track begins, and that's when I'm starting to count.
Okay.
So I'm like, okay, I know I like this song that opens the album, so that's I put a 1.
Okay.
And I hold my finger there.
Oh, wow.
The entire album.
40 minutes.
And then I'm like, well, there's 2.
Yeah.
And then all the way up to whatever it ends up being, and then if like a song is one that I don't like, then I just keep my finger where it's at.
Oh wow.
Or
And
when
what do
I'm
you-
at work, then I can do a little tally mark.
And what are you doing at this point on your 8th listen? Are you setting aside time and like only listening to music, or are you still kind of like multitasking?
Well, usually I'm only listening to it, but if I'm at work and I have to multitask, then I just make sure that I'm keeping my mind
Okay.
as focused on the album as I can
Okay.
while I do other things.
That makes sense.
So, and then I come up with my number, like, 10 out of 12.
Cool.
Or whatever, 1 out of 13.
Yeah, you have a very interesting, very processed process, and I respect that too.
So I
So
feel
I
like
remember
it
like
works.
before when I started giving you music, and I was like, oh, what did you think of that thing? I'm not done listening to it yet. Well, you haven't heard it at all? Like, it's been a week.
I've listened to
no,
it
I'm not
6
done
times. I'm
listening
not
to
done.
it. I've listened to it 6 times, and I'm not done yet. But for me, before I used to just be like, I'll listen to it a couple times, and I can kind of get a good like bearing on how I feel about it.
Yes.
But because of, I'm very inspired by you, actually. Like, I want to listen to it for a full week. That
full
may
week.
mean like multiple times a day. That may mean like once a day, and then like maybe I'm doing something. But for me, like I don't like to start listening to an album unless I have as little distraction as possible, and that usually
Okay.
means when I'm at work. So I can still get my work done. Mondays are like I usually devote most of my time in my office, and I'm doing reports and stuff. That's like my busiest day.
Yeah, I don't
Just-
do reports.
Yeah, so I'm usually doing that. So I can listen to an album with my earbuds in, and then I usually start on Mondays.
I still feel like even if you're doing other things, like your unconscious is still recording the album.
Yeah, and I got people like when I tell people that like, I listen to music at work, people are saying, well, you can't completely focus on it, but that's true sometimes. A lot of the times when I'm listening to something I've heard like dozens of times, I can just kind of keep it in the background just to keep me entertained.
And it's really good if you can listen to it and you're rocking out to it
Yes.
while you're still doing other things.
Correct.
And
Yeah.
you're just like, holy shit, this song is really good. And then you're click on the keyboard.
Yeah, like,
Yeah.
I've destroyed my computer monitor by headbanging too much. But most of the time I'm listening is while I'm at work. I also listen to it in the car. I don't like to listen to it first in the car because I don't like to. Most of my attention is like on the road, of course. But I
See,
can.
that works well for me because my commute is at least an hour.
Yeah.
So I get through an album and a half just on my commute.
Yeah, my commute's usually like 45 to an hour, depending on traffic. So I do listen to music on the way to work, but I don't like starting it on my drive. So I usually start it at work, and then I can start like once I'm a little bit more familiar, I can start listening to it on the drives. I also go to the gym, which is
Right.
very
For 15 hours a week.
15 hours a week.
Or a day, really. So you can listen to a lot of albums there.
Well, I listen to a lot of albums at work, so that's the bulk of where I do like my listening and my evaluating. But I also go to the gym too, and like a lot of times I'll either have a playlist, or if I'm in the middle of a review, I'll continue my reviews there. And yeah, so I don't hold my finger up like Adam does. I just kind of.
It's usually next to me on my lap.
Yeah.
Or I hold it.
Okay.
And then I'll like scratch my face or something and be like, oh God, how many fingers did I just have up?
I have to listen to the whole album
I know.
again.
And that will happen sometimes where I will lose track.
Oh my
And I'll have to go
God.
back and listen to it again just to make sure because I want to be like sure. And I hate
Adam
when
does
happens.
that for you guys. Mm-hmm. Wow.
For you guys.
Yeah. So mine's a lot less involved than Adam, but I have learned to like fully absorb. I've learned to appreciate fully absorbing it for a full week before I get my like full opinion. So when I say best album ever, I really mean it's the best. No, I don't mean really
No,
mean that.
it's not.
But yeah,
the best
I
album
know,
I'm
and I
listening
know
to
my
right now.
I know my review score is bullshit. It's just best album ever or worst album ever. But that's
Right.
kind of like that's because I want you to like listen to the review, you know, and you can kind of gauge where I am. Like, oh, is this kind of a middle of the road album? This is kind of a
Right.
shitty album, or this is like a really good album. So like I really want like most of my focus to be on the review that we give.
Yes.
Speaking of which, we probably have some reviews coming
Is
up.
that the extent of it here?
Do you have any more to add?
I don't think so.
Cool.
It's just tough. I mean, I prefer to listen to it while I'm driving because then I'm not thinking about driving.
That's true. Then you're
And I
just
can-
mowing down pedestrians.
At least 3
listening
per
to
day.
from first to last.
Well, it was like you listening to the first Seosin EP.
Oh yeah,
You literally murdered like 3 children on
I did
on that drive.
Yeah, I don't know if you've heard the story, anybody, but like when I got the translating the name Seosin EP from smartpunk.com,
He's
mailed
only
to my
told
house.
it 15 times
No one's heard this
in the
album.
last year.
No one's ever heard this story, Adam. Let me tell my story. So I got it in the mail, and before when I used to work at the mall by my house, that was like a 10-minute drive. So and the EP is 15 minutes long. So I pop that in, and when I get to work, I'm literally like sitting there for 5 minutes, and an additional 10 minutes hyperventilating, processing what I just heard because it was the most magnificent music I had ever heard up to that point. It's great.
And then he realized he had mowed down 3 toddlers on his drive.
And I have had to change my name,
Yes.
change my address,
Yes.
and I mourn. And like at least once a year, I go to the spot where I've mowed them all down,
Yes.
and lay flowers down to mourn them.
And they
'Cause
never,
I'm not a monster.
They never caught you
No, to this day,
because you changed the license plate
correct.
right
Yeah.
after that. You knew Anthony Green would have wanted it that way.
He would.
Mm-hmm.
He sends me thank you letters every year.
Thank you for not associating our music with death.
Speaking of thank you
toddlers.
letters, we want to send you guys a thank you letter because those are some great questions and great topics.
It was
and,
good.
Yeah, it was great. This turned out to be a good episode. I appreciate you guys doing that for us and continue supporting us. From here on out.
Should I keep on promoting the video that has had 0 views in the last 2 weeks?
Please go check out Adversity AF, the Come On Guys story on YouTube. It's on our official YouTube page, Skinny Official, and we wrote and Adam worked really hard at making a documentary based on the recording process of the
Just the
Drive-By Curious.
just the story of the band,
Yeah.
and then going into the creating of this album.
Correct.
Like not really the recording process.
We didn't just make a comedy rap album. We created a story. We made a lore
Yes.
based on these
Yeah.
2 idiots.
Because nobody wants tour or recording diary kind of documentaries.
Exactly.
You want individual interviews with grown men
Yes.
Who-
Dressed as other grown men.
who want to tell a story about growing up and living in
Yes.
Colton.
It's a cool documentary that kind of like pokes fun of recording development diaries and behind the scenes, behind the music shit, It's fun.
I am. Come on, guys.
I am. Come on. I am. Come on, guys.
I made. Come on, guys.
I made the come on, guys. Good stuff, man. But thank you guys for all the support you've given us these several months, several years, however long you've been listening. So if you enjoy our show, please share it with other people too. I can't stress that enough. Like that's if I can ask one thing of our listeners is if you enjoy it and you have people who you think might enjoy it or might enjoy the music that we all listen to, then share it with them. Because there are a couple other scene-related podcasts. There's Coronation, which I'm probably going to be checking out sometime soon. I just discovered them. But there's
So we
not
can
a lot
see
of,
what we're doing wrong?
yes,
Yes.
So we can go. But there's not a lot of podcasts that's dedicated to this kind of music. Because I checked.
Just
let
lead
people
singer
know.
syndrome. That's about it.
They don't count. That podcast.
It's not fair when you just look at your freaking contacts list in your phone and be like, "Hey, I should interview this guy for my podcast."
I know lots of people. I can just honor.
I could call tons of people in my phone and interview them, but it'll
Speaking
be
of interviews, we might be doing more interviews. 'Cause we kind of dropped the ball, not interviewing people the past year or however long it's been. But
I'll say Mike did.
that was all me. But Brad Bradley, and he hasn't. I legit emailed him about interviewing Trapped.
They had a new album come out a year ago.
We weren't interested in it at all. But he asked us if we wanted to interview him, and we were like, okay, sure.
And I listened to Lane several times and was ready to interview her.
Yes.
And it never happened.
Maybe that was partially our fault, but these promoters should get back to us when we email them. But anyway, we should get on to the end of this week's episode.
I have 6 albums to go over if you want to.
Well, let's go over that, damn it. This is our goddamn show.
That's my story, man. I went on to become the most famous rapper in the entire world. I've killed many people to get here. Oh, shit. Hold on. I probably shouldn't have said that part right there. Hey, yo. Hey, can we delete that part about me killing a motherfucker? No, the other one, man. Dude, I can't go to jail again. Fuck.
There's tons of everything that's
Oh my
come
god,
out.
every album came out this past week.
I have like 3 weeks of new material to listen to before I can go back and listen to Mike's favorites of the past.
Okay, well, besides Last Young Renegade by All Time Low,
Because I don't want to listen.
Album.
I don't want to review Being as an Ocean.
Okay,
I can review it now and tell you it's pretty bad.
It's decent. I like their new sound. I like their new direction.
Is there a new sound?
Yes, it's a lot softer.
Is there
a lot
14
more-
tracks yet only
Yes.
8 songs? 14 tracks. I'm not counting that backward song because
You're
that
not
doesn't
counting that
count.
one?
Why would you want to listen to a backward song?
But Adam, you have to extract it and then make the song go backwards to find the true meaning.
Did you try that?
No, but I'm going to.
And I have
because
no
I'm
ability.
A fucking idiot.
I have no ability to do that, so I'm not going to even try.
Okay.
And I just deleted it from the running.
Okay.
And I deleted it from my iPod.
That's fine.
And the 5 other 1-minute interlude tracks that were not interesting either. It's
Sure.
an 8-song album, and 3 of
So
them.
it's safe to say that Adam was not a fan
3 of them were okay.
of the highly anticipated Being as an Ocean album, Waiting for Morning to Come, that was ever delayed. Adam, he had to drain his E-Trade account.
I feel terrible
to pay for this album.
for whoever that was with the E-Trade account. It just isn't. Oh man, it's bad. It's really not a good album at all.
Really not a good album?
No.
What's your final score out of 8?
I won't buy what they're always trying to sell me. Give up your passion for a 401k. Throw away your true calling. Who wrote that? Who said that? Yes, that's going on our album.
Maybe that's why Equal Vision would not put it out.
What the fuck, man?
Adam is not a fan.
No.
Wow. Is that-
I'd rather run into the wilderness and feel the wind and cold.
It's artsy, Adam. Don't you get it? It's artsy.
That just hurt my voice just doing that right now.
What was your
Wow.
final score?
3 out of 8.
3 out of 8. Okay.
8
Less
tracks.
than half. 3 out of technically
Equal
14.
Vision was right.
Wow.
Hashtag.
Woo!
All right.
All
Now
right.
let's talk about Future Hearts.
Future Hearts. Okay. Let's talk about Future Hearts.
3-year waiting game that was All Time Low's near masterpiece.
Pretty
Woo.
good.
I mean, Young Renegade definitely goes into a new direction.
Yes,
but this was
their
them
change.
still being pop punk enough.
Yes, there was just enough haircuts in there to. I feel like to have the older fans enjoy the
I
more
hope so.
mature fans maybe.
The mature, the pushing 25 now,
Oh, so old.
old as shit.
Like, they could rent cars now.
I like that Cinder Block Garden song. It's pretty awesome.
That's a good song.
Future Hearts, the closer, was great.
Yeah.
Man, did they like? I mean, they're developing the pop
Yes.
in a good way, not in a generic formulaic sort of
Girl,
way.
I know you, girl.
You'll be the girl with the Cinder Block Garden. It's fucking
Yes.
good, and I gave it like a 12 out of 15.
Wow.
I mean, this is adding the bonus tracks,
Right.
The Japanese bonus edition.
Yes. Those Japanese, they get all the good stuff.
There was one good bonus track. I didn't like the bottle and the beat song.
Yeah.
The other one was really good.
That's very. This is the B-side, and we know it.
But hey, I think it was a 12 out of 15.
Yes.
That's pretty good.
For a band that you struggled to get to this point.
Yeah.
That's a really good score.
Even like the best album prior, Dirty Work, was
Yeah.
what, a 7 out of 12?
Yeah, which was
So this is a huge
pretty
jump.
good for what that is.
Yeah.
Took a 3-year break, and it really paid off. for
Finally
them.
did it right. John Feldman
Yeah.
hitting all the notes in the right place.
Mm-hmm.
Finally.
Good. John
So-
Feldman's not a very good producer in my mind.
We'll save it. We'll save Last Gen Renegade for next week.
We'll do a post-mortem review on Last Young Renegade for next week's episode.
Emmanuel,
Oh, Black Earth Tiger.
Black Earth Tiger.
So what'd you feel about this for the follow-up of Soundtrack to a
It
Head
was
Rush?
a good follow-up
Yeah?
to Soundtrack to a Head Rush.
You think it's about on the same level as Soundtrack to a Head Rush?
No. I mean, when you break it down, it's only like a one-track difference.
True, yes.
So that was like a 9 out of 10, and this I gave an 8 out of 10.
Okay.
But still, good songs.
Yes, I didn't feel like the songs were as strong as they were in
Yeah.
Soundtrack to a Head Rush.
They were
but
trying for a change.
Good effort.
Good
and it's
effort.
the last you'll ever hear of this band.
And that band is gone.
Yeah.
I don't know whatever happened. What
Yeah,
became
I
of
don't
them?
know either. I know the lead singer said that he was struggling through some mental issues, which prevented them from recording, and then the band broke up.
Wow. So, yeah, and their Wikipedia page kind of stops at 2007-ish.
Right
And
when
there's
this album came out.
nothing after that.
Yeah.
It's like, and then they toured in 2008.
I saw
The
them
end.
live my very first Warp Tour.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Was that 2005?
5. Yeah.
Okay.
It was right before the album came out.
And it was Mentally Ill?
It was Mentally Ill out of 10.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
was
All
a
right,
good-
so
it was a
there's
great set.
4 albums. So, and then we had Too Close to Touch.
Ooh, their 2016 album.
Can't be myself. Haven't been myself.
I haven't been myself lately.
Okay.
Yeah.
Pretty damn good album.
That is a good album.
It's really Nerve Endings Part 2.
It's one of those albums that like make me want to reevaluate my 2016 list.
Too Close to Touch. It was kind of just Part 2
Yeah.
and just as good.
You know, I feel like it was a little bit more refined.
A little
Like,
bit more
It is a
refined.
part 2, you're right.
Yeah.
But like, ooh, it's just that much better though.
I believe I gave it also a 9 out of 11.
Ooh,
I
nice.
think. I've forgotten my numbers already. But I'm looking forward to where this band goes because, man, do they sound like everybody. So
They do. They sound like everybody, but in the best way.
they should be on every single tour
Yeah.
leading up to this.
They can
and
tour
maybe
with every band because they sound like every band.
maybe they'll refine their sound as well.
I hope so. This is a band I feel like can.
So the 6th and final one, Bright Eyes.
Bright. Are you starting on
I
Bright Eyes?
started Bright Eyes.
So you're not starting at like beginning of his career. You're just kind of starting like at 2005's.
I'm
Wide Awake and It's Morning.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, why you only gave me 3 of their 6 albums?
Because I asked you if you wanted them, and you said just give me what you think is the good stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this was the right in the middle, album number 4, I think.
I think so. Yeah.
Very
He's written a lot of music.
political, and I didn't know it was going to be like almost all acoustic driven.
Yes, but
You
that's.
probably told me that, but I forgot.
But this is also the album where the song,
Road to Joy.
not Road to Joy, also a great song. What's the song that's like super popular?
I didn't recognize any of them.
This is the first day of my life. That one. Yeah, that one's like a mainstream hit.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah, kind of was very 2005 sounding or
Yes.
2004 sounding. It's
Glad
like,
I didn't die before I met you. I like that song a lot.
I think I did kind of recognize that one,
Yeah?
but I don't know from where.
Probably coffee shops everywhere.
Maybe.
That's the perfect
Was it
coffee
on
shop.
like a commercial? Maybe
I believe so.
that might have been what it was, like a stupid, JCPenney commercial or something. But no, this was really good.
Yeah.
Was this one of your bests of all
It
time?
wasn't on my best of all time, but it is
Okay.
a great album.
Okay. So I gave it a 9 out of 10.
Nice.
Yeah,
The People's Key is next, right?
I think. But I have a lot of new stuff.
Oh wait, no, Casadia or whatever.
Casadega.
Yeah, Casadega. This one.
I think I'm going to be putting them off to get through all of the new stuff that's come out in the last few
so
weeks.
much new shit right now.
But it was good to take that little break in there, and I never realized I could tell somebody's personality disorder just by listening to the very beginning of their album where they talk.
So there's this woman,
Yeah,
and and she's flying high above the Pacific Ocean. Like the way his voice breaks all the time is like both like cringy but endearing.
douchey.
You think it's douchey?
Mm-hmm. I can tell exactly everything about his personality just by that minute and a half intro. But he translates it well into music.
It's a very interesting sound. Yeah.
Now he has like tons of like solo stuff and
yeah.
side projects and wow.
Monsters of Folk. This is one of his side projects. Yeah.
Okay. Have you listened to very much of him outside of Bright
Just
Eyes?
his solo albums,
Yeah.
which are very Bright Eyes-esque, so I don't know why it's not under the Bright Eyes name.
Just
I'm sure he
without
has
that stupid background band.
Yeah, I'm sure he has his mentally ill reasons.
Yes.
So, yeah, great. That's a lot of stuff that you've
I
been listening
know.
to. So I caught up on a bunch of recommendations from our listener, David, who gave us the idea to be like, oh, maybe you guys should come up with an album of the month.
Oh, yeah.
So he sent me his list of album of the month from like January to June. These are all stuff I haven't heard of before. So I went ahead and listened to some of these.
Luckily, he gave us like some good music to listen to when we were going through our dull moments of June and July.
Exactly. So for January, I listened
Jaw is
to
incredible.
the album Wester, WSTR, their album Red, Green, and In Between. So it's kind of like a pop. It's kind of like a punk pop. I don't want to call it pop punk. It's more punk leaning.
Punk with pop elements.
Yes, exactly.
Never been done before.
No band has ever done this before, and I thought it was pretty decent.
Okay.
You know, I wouldn't say that was the best album of January, for at least in my opinion. Because I really
Souvenirs was probably the best album of January.
I really like that AFI album as well.
Well, yeah, that was obviously.
Hearts Like Lions from February. If I Ever Speak Again, kind of the same way I felt about it. I thought it was pretty decent. Kitsune, Kitsune, with their album Braver. I really like this album. This one came out in March. I think it's like only 8 tracks long. Not too long of a listen. Restless Streets with Together. Now, this was an album that I found above average, but the song Twin Flame on this album is one of the best songs of the year. And then finally, Idola from June, which is the band that he described as like similar to that Dance Gavin Dance sound, which is you can tell that this band listened to Downtown Battle Mountain back in 2006. I'm like, we need to do the same thing.
We need to be in a band.
To Speak, to Listen.
Yay.
Again, great sound. If you like that Dance Gavin Dance funk core.
Funky core.
Funky core.
They were a
Good
band
shit.
that keeps on popping up everywhere. Like, it was a suggested band.
Yeah, and they're a
on
band that
Facebook.
tours with every funk core band out there right now.
Do they have how many albums? 2?
I don't know. I haven't looked it up
Okay.
because I've just been focusing on these albums as well.
Because they're one that I'd also like to listen to before the end of the year, if possible.
So I don't know if you got a chance to listen to this, but The Amulet by Circus Survive.
I just started it on Wednesday.
Okay, we could talk about that next week then.
Okay.
Did you listen to the Foo Fighters?
I just started that this Wednesday.
Okay. What are you listening to right now?
Foo, Amulet, and Enter Shikari.
Nice. Okay, we can talk all about all of those next week then.
And I'm kind of meh on all 3 so far.
Okay.
But that's where I'm usually at 4 listens in. I'm just
Okay.
like, I hate everything that this is. Is. And by listen 6 and 7, I'm like, I fucking love everything about it.
So I'll just briefly end my sound off by talking about the newest album from Lights, Skin, and Earth.
Ooh, I will be getting into that the following week.
Okay, so we can go into more in-depth discussion.
And
So
already by your
without-
body language and tone, already by your body language and your tone, I can tell it was not up to standard.
I was a little underwhelmed with this one. So
okay.
I don't want to talk too much because I don't want to paint your feelings a bit before you get into it. But
does it sound like a Lights album?
it does sound like a Lights album.
Okay.
But I think that's the bad part. I feel like
Those were the elements of Little Machines that bothered me, even though there were some really good songs on there.
Little Machines, I feel like, has a lot of great songs on it. It's not better than Siberia,
Right.
but
She's getting older.
oh, she's so old. She's late 20s now.
She's like 30.
Oh no!
So
Her
thin.
life is over.
Her weight is drastically approaching her age.
And so if you don't know, this is like her first concept album. She
Right.
wrote a 4-issue comic miniseries that coincides with this. I only got through the first one because I could not stand how up its own ass it is.
I love this story. This comic will be told a folklore of the skinny for years to come.
Oh boy!
So you never got into episode 2 or whatever?
I
Or
have not read issues 2, 3, and 4. I don't know if I want to though. I was hoping that the album would would push me to read more of it. But
Like, is that what she wanted you to read the comics first and then the album, or
yes,
vice versa?
The comics were coming out ahead of the comics, ahead of the album, to get you like prepared for the concept and the world that this album is being told through.
In
E-N. He looks just like Lights. All the main characters are just people that Lights knows.
is there a baby?
Oh, that's named Shuttle.
Shuttle. That's what I was thinking too.
No, but maybe I will get into 2, 3, and 4. But like at this point, I have no desire to do it. But I am on repeat listenings of Skin and Earth. I never said the name of the album. It's growing on me a little bit more. So maybe it's just the familiarity is making me like enjoy it more. But but unlike the last 2 albums, which I listened to first and like I fell in love right away, like this isn't giving me that
Right.
same.
Maybe it has to grow on you like a slow cancer.
Like a skin cancer.
Yes. And maybe, I don't know, you have to check your gender biased. Because
What?
just to think, if some like guy was doing something
If
like
Owl
this,
City wrote this,
sure.
sure.
I never listened
Boy
to Owl
Lights.
City, so I don't know exactly.
He's just Boy Lights. It's
If
the same
he was
music.
doing it, would it be as pretentious as attractive young girl who you have massive boner for the last 10 years?
Who in an alternate reality, I'm her husband.
Exactly.
Right?
I mean, you're never gonna want to marry Boy Lights.
No.
So you have to check your boner
Okay.
before you turn on the album.
So by the time that you listen to this album, we can talk about it a little bit more. I'll have checked my boner privilege.
Yes.
At that point, and maybe we can have a little bit more in-depth discussion on it. But for now,
Probably.
it started off slightly underwhelming, but I'm warming up to it.
Okay. Is there up-tempo pop ditties like on the last album that annoyed the shit out of me?
I thought you said you didn't listen to this album yet.
Oh. I'm asking, are there?
Up-tempo pop ditties.
Those ones usually drive me bonkers, but like her slower stuff I tend to like more.
There are some
But-
really good slow songs on this one.
Okay.
As far as like, you mean like Up We Go?
Yeah.
There's nothing like Up We Go.
Okay.
There's a lot of like.
that album or that song really kind of, I don't know, got under
love
my
that
skin.
song.
I know you love
I
it,
love that song, dude.
and I couldn't stand it.
Up tempo pop ditties. That's like the name of that's the nickname I give to my penis. But thank you guys for checking out this week's episode of The Skinny. Once again, it's been a great 250, and we hope that you guys will continue on to support us. Share the
So-
show if you really enjoy it.
So like I say, like
All
with,
we can ask.
with every milestone, I always say like, here's to another like 50 or another 100.
Sure.
Here's to another 250.
Goddamn
Are
right.
we going to keep on doing this? Because your life is going to take you in places. Because you have like a new girlfriend, and who knows what her life is going to do.
Yes.
You're like trying to get extra jobs because you're living on the streets now.
Yep.
So I mean,
poor garbage.
your life will take you places, and who knows what's going to happen with my stupid wife's job and where that will take us.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying, here's to another 250.
Well, don't we always say that like we're gonna keep doing this because it's not fun anymore?
Oh yeah, but it stops being fun just about every summer. But I power through. God damn it!
Every summer is it's just like.
That's usually when I'm just like I have little to give at this point.
Oh, okay.
And I need to figure out what the hell I'm doing. So
If you
I'm
don't
going to
wanna-
start a new project, like a documentary, and maybe people will like it, and they
If
don't.
you don't want to do an episode, just tell me, man. You don't have to like
I
force
can't.
yourself to do that.
But I need the outlet.
Oh, okay.
But I want to still keep creating. We have other documentary ideas.
That's true.
And who needs
Music videos to make?
Who needs to write the script for that is the real question.
Both of us, maybe.
Well, I can't sit down and write every single script.
I know you can.
So you start it and I'll finish it.
Okay, that works too. More projects coming soon from the
Hey.
Skinny. But again, thank you guys for the support, and we'll see you guys next week. But I don't want to get you the thing. Okay, I'll get you the thing, and I'll continue to stall while I pull this out and give it to Adam.
Pull out
Like
your
we-
up-tempo ditty
My pop
so that I
steady.
can read it.
So, like we say every single week on the
Like we
Skinny
say.
with Mike and Adam.
Did you say acquiesce?
Did I say that?
You did.
Like we say every week on the Skinny with Mike and Adam.
When the baby is gooey, Facebook wants to see.
So many likes.